All right, so you guys already know the drill. This is the Season 2 patch that just came out. And look, as you can see on the gameplay, the museum is back. Dome is in the game as well, so you guys will be able to watch some gameplay as we go over this. But I'm here to save you reading through a 40-page document and just tell you everything you need to know about what changed about the game. But there's a little more to it than that today. Not only are we talking about literally what changed with Modern Warfare 2, but they even gave us some hints into what is coming for Season 2 Reloaded and Season 3. And weirdly enough, it seems that the pushback for like, oh my god, we don't have a lot of multiplayer content, that's kind of what the sentiment of how everybody's been feeling, especially if you watch my last video. People are upset that multiplayer seems to be getting shafted as far as content goes. So they actually addressed that, and we'll talk about that a bit later in the video. But first, word from sponsor. Today's sponsor is Clash of Clans. Now, lads, the thing is, if you've never encountered this game in your life, then you've never experienced true power. What other game allows you to take a little soy jack village and grow it into the actual Chad village? This game lets you build and grow your entire clan, and it lets you become more powerful as you cooperate with others, and you can battle other clans for more resources or just earning rewards for yourself that you can use to further your progress as well. But listen, don't take it from me. Just listen to my literal biological son. God, every game is so boring right now. I really need something new to play. Hey, literal biological son, what's that over there? What are you playing? What's on your phone? Oh, I see you're a man of culture as well.
I am begging you download the video game because it is epic and you become Chad.
But for real, go ahead and check out the game. You can download it for free using the link in the description or the QR code on screen. Thank you to Clash of Clans for sponsoring the video. Okay, so first thing, it looks like weapon tuning got a massive buff. This was one of my earliest complaints of the game where I'm like, it's almost pointless to tune a lot of the attachments because they end up being a net negative in a lot of cases. Not all of them, but you know what I mean. But they say in this that they are going to be basically buffing the strengths and advantages you get from weapon tuning and reducing the, drawbacks that it comes with. So basically, weapon tuning is just getting better across the board. They say that now tuning has been enabled for laser attachments, sliders have been updated for a bunch of them, the harmful ones have been decreased while the beneficial tuning attributes have been increased. So it looks like this is literally just going to be better across the board. And so this means if you don't have the ability to tune the favorite weapon you're currently using, then you better get on it soon because everyone else who does have it is going to be an absolute demon. So anyways, yeah, weapon tuning got a buff. When it comes to balancing, they also mentioned a bunch of weapons, and surprisingly, a lot of ones that I thought were going to get nerfed didn't, and there were some unexpected buffs. So for example, the M13B actually got buffed all across the board, its range and upper torso damage, which is good. That it's a good weapon, but it was a little underpowered. I agree with that. The Kastov 762 or the AK, small damage reduction and additional long-range damage fall-off. So bit of a nerf coming to that, which is interesting. I thought it was in a good place, but that's fair enough. The Lockman 556 increased semi-auto rate of fire, which is interesting. M4 increased semi-auto rate of fire. Really nothing changes with this unless you're firing it in like the single tap, which basically nobody does. And then the STB, they fixed some kind of single tap issue with it. So not really a buff or nerf to that, just a bit of an update. So with battle rifles, it's a bit of a different story. It's not just a straight nerf or buff across the board. It's a bit more complicated. They're just getting better tuned. So I'll just go ahead and put these up on screen. But like, for example, so the Lockman is getting decreased full auto head and torso damage, but it's getting increased damage when firing at long range. So it's a bit complicated and nobody knows for sure how these are going to affect the weapons. It's not just a straight, this gun is better or worse than it used to be. It's a bit more complicated with all of the battle rifles. That goes for almost every single one of them. The only differences really when it comes to handguns, the X13 auto just pretty much got a straight buff, as well as the launchers, generally speaking. The light machine guns, the only thing to change was the RPK, and that did get a bit of a nerf, and I assume this is mostly for Warzone. I don't think this was a big problem in MP, but with the RAL MG, got a little bit of increased recoil. That's about it. Marksman rifles, the EBR 14, the LMS, and the TAC M all got very similar changes. Now, these are, just more well-rounded balance patches, and I assume, again, this is basically just for the purposes of Warzone, like they added minimum damage against armor and so on, so you kind of get what it's for. Now, when it comes to melee, they increased non-lunging melee damage range, which is kind of strange. I guess this is better to hit equipment on the ground. I don't know how this is going to interact with players. I'm not really sure, but when it comes to SMGs, the Vaznev caught a nerf. The only change that got made was its mid to long range damage damage was reduced. That's literally, I didn't think that was a problem for the gun. Obviously, it was a monster up close, but I didn't think it had that issue. So it's going to be a little bit worse in the game now. Same with the mini back, aka the PP Bison. For some reason, they reduced basically all of the damage ranges flat out. I didn't think this gun was that good, to be honest. Maybe that's from a multiplayer perspective. Perhaps this is also primarily for Warzone, and maybe that's fair enough. But I didn't think this gun was that good to begin with, and they just made it pretty much worse across the board. And then with the Fennec, aka the Vector, they just reduced the damage overall, decreased headshot damage, and yeah, so this caught a pretty fat nerf as well. Sniper rifles, the only thing to change was the Signal 50. This got a big nerf to its mobility. I assume, again, primarily for Warzone, but will also have an effect in MP. Now, as stated before, obviously the brand new modes coming to the game are Infected, Gun Game, Grind, and Hardcore. And then maps, of course, we had Dome, which you've seen in the video. The Museum is back. And then the two battle maps, which are for Invasion and Ground War, which again are just slivers of the Warzone map from Al Mazrah. So those are obviously in the game. We already talked about those. Ranked play obviously hit the game. They did make a change to perks. The only small thing is they say Ghost reduced bonus perk cost by 50% and ultimate perk by 25%. So you should be able to get these earlier in the game. It's so funny to me how they tried to go for this whole system as where you earn the perks in game, but as the game has gone on, it's become so fast that you may as well just spawn in with all of these things. It makes no difference anymore, especially when compared to the original beta when you had you'd unlock perks pretty late in the game. So it's so fast now. Just give it to us right when we spawn if you're going to do it like that. I mentioned at the beginning of the video that Infinity Ward kind of teased what they were doing for Season 2 Reloaded and Season 3, and that they had basically tweeted something really funny. So they were like, hey, lads, check it out. We've got this brand new 6v6 map coming with Season 2 Reloaded. It's way ahead of testing, and we can go ahead and launch it with Season 2 Reloaded. So first of all, let me say this is an actual brand new multiplayer map, and, we don't know what it's called or how it's going to play. It looks cool. I actually like the way this looks aesthetically a lot. It's like some kind of, I don't know, ski hotel resort. I don't know. Anyways, that's not really the point. It's a brand new map, but it doesn't seem like they were going to be launching this with Season 2 Reloaded from the get-go. It was like, oh my god, we've got to finish this map because people are going to be pissed if we don't have more multiplayer content. I think this obviously was not part of the original plan, but the pushback from the community of being like, we are literally getting scammed for multiplayer content made them kind of act out and maybe call an audible here and drop something that originally wasn't supposed to be with Season 2 Reloaded, which means we probably wouldn't have got any maps at all for multiplayer in Season 2 Reloaded. Probably would have had to wait till Season 3. They do mention that, however, Gunfight is returning to multiplayer with Season 3, as well as Plunder's coming to Warzone and Warzone Ranked. So, take that for what you will. And as I always say, if you're interested in all the stuff that's changing with Warzone, I scroll through these patch notes, and it's about 80% of the page is Warzone stuff. Although I will say, I hate to say, a lot of it is just kind of irrelevant information. It's kind of stuff that you're just going to discover on your own. It doesn't really need to be said. The patch notes are very inflated, so if you do want to read through these, again, I'll always have them linked in the description, but I just wanted to give you guys what you need to know. For multiplayer, that's basically it. There's not much else to report, honestly. There's weapon tuning, attachment changes, gun balancing, the new maps, quote unquote, that got added to the game, and that's really it. Hopefully Season 3 will be a bit better, but make sure to subscribe before you go. That's pretty much all I got for you today, and I'll talk to you guys soon.